Ooh, you like that pork, don't ya? Bacon, bacon, bacon. 2 nights ago, I noticed we've got a really nice bar boar or bar hog showing up on one of our North Texas feeder. He's probably in the upper 250 class range. If you don't know what a bar hog is, basically at some point somebody cut this hog's testicles off in order for it to grow really fat and really big. It's still a little bit young to be shot, but the fact that he's coming into our feeder out of nowhere, I'm taking him down. The reason people do this is once the hog gets his testicles cut out, it tastes really good because all that testosterone's out of their system, and all they're going to do is fatten up and gain a lot of weight. And you could tell that this is a bar hog just by the way he's acting. Number one, he's hanging out at a feeder for 4 hours. He's not rutting up. He's kind of feeding in the area. And I'll have to show you this really funny picture where a raccoon showed up at the feeder and he kind of freaked out. It kind of spooked him. So I'm really not going to call this a hunt because I'm going to wait for the hog to show up on my phone, my game cam that goes straight to my phone, and I'm going to walk out there and shoot him. The fact that he's hanging around for 4 hours is going to be an easy kill. So I'm basically going to kill him. I'm going to clean this guy up and show you all the meat, and I'm telling you, this guy's going to be fat. So stay for it. Hopefully he'll come in. So stay tuned for this, and we'll get this guy on the ground. It's only 7:30, and a boar just walked out there. I don't think it's the same one, but he's going down. That's exactly how you want him to die. No suffering. With one well-placed shot at a distance of 117 yards, this bar boar dropped right in the mud. The 130-grain sledgehammer bullet hit this hog at 2,327 feet per second, delivering 1,672 foot-pounds of energy. I got him out of there before sundown. I cut his jugular to bleed him out, and since the temperatures were going to be in the 50s, I decided to butcher him in the morning. The verdict is in. He ain't got no nuts. This is that guy. Looks like he's got one. He smells good though. He doesn't smell too bad. He's a big boar. I got my cleaning supplies ready along with my sanitation gloves. Starting with a good thick skinning knife, I made an incision on one side of the spine and continued to cut back the hide. I have 2 recipes in mind, so I kept fat on one side of the back straps. Next, I grabbed my tiny fillet knife, feeling on one side of the spine and filleted out the backstrap, repeating the same process on the other side. I wash the meat down, carefully removing any hog hair. I trim out any fat that I don't plan to cook with or if it looks questionable. I also like to cut my meat into cookable portions, and at this point, I could literally throw this on the grill. This next step is not necessary, but with the recipes I have in mind, I like to bleed out the meat. I do this by keeping the back straps in water in a freezer Ziploc bag. Add just enough water that suspends half an inch above the meat. I would advise sitting it up and not letting it lay down. Here's a picture at 12 hours, and at this point, I drained out the old water. I added new water and let it bleed out for another 12 hours. Beyond 24 hours is not necessary. Here's a picture at 24 hours. I'm going to show you guys my go-to recipe when I'm introducing new folks into wild hog meat that they may have never eaten before. This is the backstrap of the bar boar that I shot 2 nights ago. I've had it bleeding out in a bag for 24 hours to get all the blood out of it, and I like to work with it at room temperature. This is a super simple recipe, and what I like about it, it gives the eater an opportunity to consume as much meat as they want or add as much vegetables they want. So all you need is 1 potato with whatever seasoning you prefer, a selection of vegetables that you like. You could add carrots, you could add whatever you like when it comes to vegetables. Obviously have you a good boar that you shot down, and again, more seasonings. You will need a pot and aluminum foil, and let me get you through this process. I'm gonna do this in fast forward so we don't waste a lot of time. I start by preheating my oven at 425 degrees. I cut the potatoes at 1/4 to 3/8 inch thickness. I spread them out all over the removable tin foil. Add any seasoning and sauce to your likeness. Next, slice up your vegetables. Now, if it were me, I would leave the fat on here and eat it just the way this is. I would trim off this material because it's very rubbery. If the meat feels rubbery like that, this is very soft, but that's definitely gummy. You're gonna wanna cut that off for sure and do away with that. And like I said, if it were me, I would eat that. But for guests, they may not like their meat chewy. And so I'm gonna go ahead and trim this off of here. And this is literally just like a fish. Get you a good fillet knife and just trim that off of there. This is probably gonna go to my puppy. You're also gonna wanna look for sinew like this, because this is definitely not good tasting at all. And it's really just tough string. So make sure you cut all that out. Cook the potatoes on one side for 10 minutes. Next, cook the meat at medium hot. Prepare your skillet or pan by using cooking oil and salt. I like to test the temperature with my trimmed hog meat that I will eventually give to my dog. All you're doing here is searing the outside of the meat to hold in the flavor. No more than 45 seconds to a minute on each side. Next, I fry up the vegetables with garlic salt, pepper, and Worcestershire sauce. I like my vegetables to be crunchy, so I don't fry them too long. Mix in the vegetables with the meat, add seasoning to your likeness. I'm a big fan of applewood pepper, and then foil it up. Flip over the potatoes and add sauce to the other side. Tony Cheshire is very salty, so I only applied it to one side. Back in the oven for another 10 minutes. During the next 10 minutes while I'm letting potatoes cook on the other side, I'm letting the vegetables and meat just kind of marinate with each other right here. And eventually I'm going to cook this at 350 degrees for only about 10 minutes, since it's been at 425. While it's going down to 350, it'll definitely cook that meat internally. The good thing about being a hog hunter is I always have an endless supply of snacks for the little puppy. Y'all want to see a happy dog? Cree! 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 Look at this. Look at that. Sit. Good boy. Ooh, you like that pork, don't ya? Pecking, pecking, pecking. Happy doggy. Can y'all believe he's almost 70 pounds at 7 months? You like that, don't you? You like that. Good dog. Once the potatoes are done, I put the meat and veggies in the oven for 10 minutes at 350 degrees. It came out perfect for me, rare and tender. If you want it medium, cook it for another 5 to 7 minutes. What is awesome about this recipe, it gives the one who is consuming, first time eating hog meat, an opportunity to pick what cut of meat they want. You take you a wedge of potato, you grab the cut of meat you want, put it on there. And then if you just want peppers, you could put it on there. If you just want jalapenos, you can put that on there. If you like them both, and onions, you could put that all on there. And you pick it up all at one time, and you give it a big munch. Delicious. Give this recipe a try and introduce it to others who may have never had wild hog meat. Let me know what you thought about my first hunt, clean, and cook video. I have an island recipe I would like to try once I get a fat sow down on the ground. So until then, stay tuned for my next adventure.